Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
It means disaster. White House aides fear more policy chaos after Cohn departure. For many longtime Republican policy wonks and senior aides on Capitol Hill, Gary Cohn served as a touchstone. He was seen as the rare Trump administration official who did a good job of navigating substantive policy questions as well as the sometimes opaque decision-making process in President Donald Trump's White House. But with his resignation announcement Tuesday, Cohn joins the long list of policy experts who have departed in recent months, a brain drain that leaves the president with fewer people around him who know how to get policy made, and how to stop Trump from moving ahead with unworkable ideas. Some worry the White House could return to the uncontrolled days immediately following Trump's inauguration, when many West Wing jobs were still unfilled and former strategist Steve Bannon was writing executive orders with policy advisor Stephen Miller, including the disastrous travel ban that was ultimately knocked down by multiple courts. The number of bad ideas that have come through this White House that were thankfully killed dead, there are too many to count, a White House official told Politico. With Gary gone, I just think, from a policy perspective, it means disaster. Cohn's resignation comes a month after Staff Secretary Rob Porter stepped down amid domestic abuse allegations. Porter, a Harvard Law graduate, had emerged as the White House's lead policy coordinator, corralling the president's often divided advisors in a bid to reach consensus. White House officials were feeling the loss of Porter in recent days, when Trump announced his plans to move forward with steep tariffs on steel and aluminum imports before key legal analysis had been completed. One White House official said that never would have happened if Porter, who had for months been organizing weekly trade policy meetings with cabinet secretaries and senior aides, was still in the administration. Porter had worked closely with Cohn to persuade Trump to narrow the tariffs. But Cohn told White House staffers on Tuesday that the tariff proposal is not the main reason for his decision to leave. In addition to the high-profile resignations of Cohn and Porter, other White House policy experts have also stepped down, including Domestic Policy Council Deputy Director Paul Winfrey, NEC Deputy Director Jeremy Katz and Technology Policy Advisor Grace Coe. Cohn's upcoming departure leaves the National Economic Council, which under Trump has become the White House's policy powerhouse, without a permanent leader. Several other senior officials on the NEC are separately weighing whether to step down in the coming weeks, according to multiple administration officials and outside advisors to the president. Many on the NEC had already been considering leaving in the coming months, likely sometime in the spring or summer. In the wake of Cohn's departure, NEC staffers, many of whom are deeply loyal to Cohn, were discussing speeding up their exits. People are thinking, maybe I won't be here as long as I thought I'd be, the NEC official said. Meanwhile, rumors were circulating on the NEC on Tuesday that Trump could be tempted to tap trade advisor and economic nationalist Peter Navarro to replace Cohn. That decision would likely be met with universal opposition from NEC staffers. No one on this NEC will work for that guy, one NEC official said. But White House officials said it remains unclear who will replace Cohn, and the issue is still under active discussion in the West Wing. What is a little bit worrisome is the question of who replaces him is coming in the middle of this fight on tariffs that has divided the White House between the protectionist point of view and free trade point of view, said Lan He-chen, a fellow at the Hoover Institution and policy director to the 2012 Romney-Ryan presidential campaign. The question of who will run the NEC now is also a question of whether it plugs the NEC into the process in a functional way. The White House has struggled to attract top-tier talent, and high-profile Washington Republicans have said privately that they would not join the administration. We'll be making a decision soon on the appointment of new chief economic advisor. Many people wanting the job, will choose wisely. Trump tweeted on Tuesday night. Another possible Cohn replacement, Larry Kudlow, an outside economic advisor to the president and a former advisor to President Ronald Reagan, has heavily criticized Trump's proposed tariffs, leading to speculation that he won't get the job. It's going to be hard to find a good economic mind who supports the president's current economic agenda on tariffs, a former White House official said. Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney is another potential candidate to replace Cohn, according to one close advisor. Mulvaney, a former South Carolina congressman, hasn't spoken publicly about the tariffs since Trump announced them last week. Having a former Goldman Sachs executive is not always the best messenger. It would be nice to have someone communicate it in a more understandable way, the advisor said. Cohn's departure was celebrated by Trump loyalists who believed he was trying to moderate the president and persuade him to abandon the promises he made during the campaign. Just after 6 p.m. Tuesday, one former Trump campaign official sent a Politico reporter a message that simply said, "R.I.P. globalists." Earlier Tuesday, some Trump loyalists had criticized Cohn's ongoing efforts to weaken or overturn the president's seemingly sudden announcement on steel and aluminum tariffs. "I don't think anyone was prepared for Gary Cohn to launch a one-man war to torpedo the president's policy," said the same official. "Gary is going around and openly launching a crusade against the president. And guys like Navarro and some of the other Trump loyalists inside the White House have really been taken aback by how aggressive he's been." Poll: Trump trails generic Democrat by 8 points. President Donald Trump's new campaign manager has his work cut out for him. A week after naming Brad Parscale to run his re-election effort, Trump is 8 points behind a generic Democratic candidate, 44% to 36%, according to a new Politico, Morning Consult poll. Nearly 1 in 5 voters, 19%, are undecided. Male voters are evenly split. 42% would vote for Trump, and 42% would back the Democratic candidate. Among female voters, the Democrat has a 15-point lead, 46% to 31%. The results fall predictably along party lines. Democratic voters support the Democrat, 82% to 8%, Republican voters choose Trump, 79% to 7%. Among independents, the Democratic candidate leads, 35% to 29%, with 36% undecided. 86% of voters who say they backed Hillary Clinton in 2016 would choose the Democratic candidate in 2020, greater than the 80% of Trump voters who say they would vote for him again. Other indicators also suggest Trump is in perilous shape at this early stage. The president's approval rating in the new poll is 43%, down from 46% last week. And Democrats' lead on the generic congressional ballot is up to 7 points, 44% to 37%. Despite Trump's poor poll numbers, Republicans aren't necessarily better off without him on the ballot. Asked for whom they would vote between a generic, non-Trump Republican and a generic Democrat, 42% of voters pick the Democrat, but only 28% choose the Republican. More than 3 in 10 voters, 31%, are undecided. Trump supporters are lukewarm about voting for any Republican presidential candidate other than Donald Trump, said Kyle Drop, Morning Consult's co-founder and chief research officer. Notably, 80% of Trump voters say they would vote for Trump over a generic Democrat, but only 54% of Trump voters say the same about a generic GOP candidate over a generic Democrat. The Politico, Morning Consult poll was conducted March 1 to 5, surveying 1,993 registered voters. The margin of sampling error is plus or minus 2 percentage points. Morning Consult is a nonpartisan media and technology company that provides data-driven research and insights on politics, policy and business strategy. Trump blames past presidents as far back George H. W. Bush for economic woes. President Donald Trump attacked the economic track record of his predecessors Wednesday morning, blaming presidents dating back nearly 30 years for accumulating the trade deficits that he has railed against and pledged to reverse. From Bush 1 to present, our country has lost more than 55,000 factories, 6 million manufacturing jobs and accumulated trade deficits of more than $12 trillion, the president wrote on Twitter. Last year we had a trade deficit of almost $800 billion. Bad policies and leadership. Must win again. #MAGA. Spokespeople for Presidents George H. W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush and Barack Obama did not immediately return emails seeking a response to Trump's criticism. While Trump has long been a critic of what he labels unfair international trade, the issue has taken center stage at the White House in recent days after the president's announcement last week that he intends to impose tariffs on the import of foreign aluminum and steel, a step he says will protect American workers. Trump has said any trade war triggered by new tariffs would be easy for the U.S. to win. Even before the official installation of the tariffs, major U.S. trade partners including China and Canada have expressed their displeasure with the president's announced policy. The European Union, which collectively is America's largest trading partner, has threatened to impose reciprocal tariffs. Trump's new tariffs have also proven unpopular with some in his own party and even with some inside the West Wing. Chief Economic Advisor Gary Cohn, who had lobbied Trump hard against the tariffs, announced Tuesday that he would resign from the White House, and top Republicans, including House Speaker Paul Ryan, Republican Wisconsin, have been vocal in their opposition to the president's plan. Is a trade war coming? The latest edition of the Politico Money podcast answers the hottest listener questions on the big battle over steel and aluminum tariffs currently roiling the White House and global markets. Will President Donald Trump proceed with the tariffs? How will it hit consumers and the U.S. economy? How will other countries react? Get smart fast on all these questions and more.